So who is telling the truth? Good morning, Amy Jacobson here with Jim Uriel. We're both in for Dan Proft. And tomorrow, partner, you're going to be here with Jeannie Ives.
That's
so I
correct.
hope you're having a good time and ready to come back for some more tomorrow morning.
No doubt about it.
But this is a he said problem is going on because our Secretary of State, Alexi Giannoulias, says, no, I absolutely did not issue an Illinois driver's license to the man who was here illegally, who was drunk and plowed his car into another vehicle at 80 miles per hour, killing Katie Abraham and her friend Chloe. And I don't trust Alexi Giannoulias because he's asking people to go out and be secret spies against ICE who are making arrests here in Chicago.
Tragically, ICE is back on our streets. And as this video shows, they're driving without a visible license plate.
Oh, no.
Let me be absolutely clear. Tampering with, removing, obscuring, or operating a vehicle without the required license plates is illegal in Illinois. That applies to everyone. No one is above the law. So if you see a vehicle with missing, altered, or obscured plates, we need you to report it. Call or email our Plate Watch hotline immediately. Federal agents cannot come into Illinois, terrorize our communities, and ignore our laws. This is about public safety. It's about accountability. It's about protecting our neighbors. If the law applies to Illinois families, it applies to federal agents too. Together, we're responsible for keeping our community safe.
With more on this, let's bring in Joe Abraham, angel father, of course, father of Katie Abraham. Good morning, Joe. How are you?
Good morning. Good. How are you guys?
Well, okay, so you hear this, and he doesn't seem to care about people who have died at the hands of illegals. But the point of contention is he's saying, no, I did not give the man, and I don't even want to say his name. You can say his name. I did not give him an Illinois driver's license, yet he had a driver's license. So can you walk us through what happened?
Yeah, so Katie was killed, a legal immigrant, drunk, slammed into the car. And his name is Juan Suarez in Illinois. Illinois knew him as Juan Suarez. That's apparently who the driver's license number was tied to, because there was a driver's license number on the police report. So when the U.S. Marshals found him in Texas, because obviously he was trying to flee and was almost getting to Mexico, he turns out that he's Julio Cucubol, who's from Guatemala, not Juan Suarez, who's from Mexico. So there's federal charges now on false identification, falsifying basically who he is, right? So did Illinois issue a driver's license to Julio Cucubol? Yeah, Illinois didn't even check who this guy was. So I'm not surprised they didn't. What they did do, I want to know, and we're suing Urbana for this, and we're trying to do some FOIA so we can get real facts. So we just got to go with what we know. And what we know is in Illinois, they did not verify anything with this guy. He was known as Juan Suarez. So if he can give me some information, did they issue a driver's license to a guy, Juan Suarez, who's from, using a Mexican national rather than his true identity as Julio Cucubol from Guatemala? I would love to know that, but I don't get anything from Illinois. So, we'll try to find it through the legal channels. Hopefully they can provide us with some clarity to understand really what happened and the failures in his office and in Illinois in general when it comes to these reckless kind of policies. Look, we're a family of immigrants. Do it properly. Do it right. Yeah. What happened, those 4 years, if anyone thinks that was compassionate and the right thing to do, they were not paying attention, or they're just blind to their ideology and they're just tied to their political party. And I think we can do better than that.
Joe, it's Jim Uriel. Thank you for coming on. I know it's just not a great topic all the time, but when Alexi Giannoulias comes on and he says he claimed that Jim Jordan and that our own Jeannie Ives was just, he said, a bold-faced liar about the Secretary of State issuing driver's license to illegals. There has to be something he's like a loophole that he's going back on, because it's easily provable that he has. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, he's going. His loophole here is he's saying, "Wow, Julio Cucubol, we never issued a license to him."
Okay,
which I don't disagree. He probably didn't, because he wasn't using his identity; he was using aliases. And Illinois, in their genius, didn't even bother to check. Oh, that's who you are? We're good enough for me. Get out there and. By the way, you can't speak English, read, write, or speak English. Okay. You can't read, write, or speak Spanish. Okay. You speak indigenous Guatemalan language called Kaichi, which isn't even a derivative of Spanish. And side note, the level of effort we have to get and pay for these specialized interpreters in court, you couldn't believe. So I don't know. How did he get the test? Did they bring a Tai Chi interpreter and just do it for? I have no idea, but no one will talk to me. Now, on the other side, when he starts ripping on Jim Jordan, Mary Miller, and Jeannie Ives, those three have been nothing but great to us. Mm-hmm. I don't know. If you want to call political, fine. You could have done the same thing, but you didn't. So tell me who's the better political person if you want to put everything into politics, because clearly everything is done through a political lens. Well, then what does that make you look like? These are people who reached out to us, who are compassionate to us, who still continue to ask about us. I haven't heard two words. I haven't heard one word from these guys in Illinois, the Secretary of State or the governor.
Wow. So you recently have spent time with Jessica Gorman, her daughter Sheridan, was killed by somebody here illegally who, should have been behind bars, was not. And she was on Capitol Hill, and I cannot believe the way Democratic lawmakers treated her. Here she is.
And I understand that you're here for a reason. I don't understand why it's only the Republican side that cares about our American children. And I know that you're a mother. I know that you're a father. I deeply value that. But basically what you just did, what you said was, I'm so sorry for your loss. I have a daughter too. I have a son. I feel your pain. You don't. You don't feel my pain. Because the next words out of your mouth were, but. There's no but. When your child is in a coffin, there's no but. And I need you to understand that. And if you ever want to talk about it, I'm here. I'm going to buy you a bench. You can put that on the record. I'm going to buy Congress a bench. And they can come and sit and hold my hand and look me in the eye and explain to me why illegal immigrants are more important than my daughter. I really want to know because I don't understand.
And one of the Socialist Spice Girls, Jaya Paul, this was her response. I don't know if you've heard this, Jim, or you out there listening.
Unfortunately, this hearing is, it's the fourth time in this committee that we've had a hearing on sanctuary cities, the fourth time. And there's many other things that we could be doing other than this.
So were you in the room when she dismissed Jessica Gorman and basically all of you angel moms and dads?
Yes, I wrote about it, actually. I think it was in the town hall town hall. I wrote about that whole thing because the two things that came out of there was everything was but, and they didn't want to talk about anything sanctuary. They only wanted to talk about, hey, where's compassion for Renee Good and Alex Preddy and like these guys? And it's fine. They should get that compassion. My heart goes out to their families. No one should lose a loved one in any kind of a bad way. But the selective compassion, that hierarchy that they've built, that only some tragedies get elevated, is not good enough because you can't sit there in front of us who lost innocence. See, my child wasn't carrying a weapon and going into federal law enforcement operations. My child was not taking her car and running it around law enforcement there. She didn't put herself she was just on the streets of Illinois and was killed. Same thing with Sheridan. And they were terrific people. They're lovely people. And they deserve answers. Why do we only get answers on one side of the ledger and get ignored on the other side of the ledger? We want answers too, but we do not get any consideration. And that's the tragedy of this all. Now we have to change policies. And I'm sorry for people who lost their lives. They shouldn't. It's a terrible thing. But now we have to change policies because a certain number of people, I don't know, we don't know the facts. But on the other side of the ledger, how many, countless, I can't even count how many angel families and devastated families there are on the other side of the ledger. Was anyone asking for or demanding change in policies as politicians? Those open borders, I think they were all together in on it. I don't know what else to say, but there was a better way to do it, and how you did it cost countless lives. But those lives don't really matter, it seems like to me.
Yeah, there's no question. And here's what it dawns on me that just seems crazy is that and it's not just about licenses. It's not just about criminality in other ways besides driving. It's just they welcomed them in as a sanctuary city, and that open the door to a chaotic system, or at least more chaotic than it's supposed to be or ever has been before. These are literally, whether you call them illegals or undocumented, spoiler alert, they're illegals. But I worry that we're going to get too concentrated on the driving thing, which is amazingly important. But I want people to view it holistically, the whole chaotic system that they're bringing about. Do you agree with that?
Well, here's the thing. I think there's so many system failures. I don't agree with how it look. How they did it was utterly reckless and wrong.
Reckless.
And they did it for self-serving purposes. People got to realize that. You know, the one thing that exercised one of the Illinois state senators when they were talking, when we finally, it was a Democrat, finally got in front of one Democrat in Illinois. Everything was calm and cool as we were talking. The minute I asked the simple question, are there ballots tied to these illegal immigrant names? That's when things got animated and exercised. Yeah. I was like, what is going on? I lost my daughter. This is what got you all fired up. It was really, it was an eye-opening thing going, okay, so let me hear. She's like, do you have any proof? I'm like, well, that's an inversion of responsibility. I have to prove to you your elections are false or suspect. Shouldn't you prove to me as a citizen who you work for that you have transparent and safe elections? I'm just asking a simple question. Give me the right answer. The answer isn't go prove it, Joe. That's not the answer. The other thing is the similarities between Katie and Sheridan Gorman are incredible. Both college students, both killed close to campus. Both of them were just terrific people. Like the bench that Jessica Gordon was talking, it was a buddy bench where Sheridan would help other kids at schools. They called it the buddy bench then. So she wanted to bring a buddy bench to Congress because to get Congress to sit together and look at some of the families and talk to one another and get real policies done. That was the context behind Jessica saying, I'm going to buy you guys a bench, because basically what she was saying is you're all incoherent, incompetent, and you need to pull yourselves together. And I think Congress didn't even understand that. And then Jayapal, she had no time for us. Not the contempt they showed us, you couldn't believe. But the minute something happens with ICE, boy, she can find that microphone, and that's all she talks about. All these other things she was saying that they had better things to do had nothing to do with immigration. But now, you know, when there's a political advantage she thinks she can get, boy, does she get out there and just start, just talking about it all day long, except for when it comes to the politically inconvenient in her views and against her ideology, her blind loyalty. Then there's no time for it. This is ridiculous. We should never talk about deaths and lives that are lost because of our reckless policies. It's really fascinating to watch.
This voice belongs to Joe Abraham, Angel Dad. Do you think there'll ever be a time when you've had enough of Illinois and you might move out?
We kind of, that's a great question. So we're lifelong Illinoisans, right? So I, at least with me, I decided not to bury my Katie in Illinois. I can't bury her. I'm not there. I don't have the heart to bury her in the state that so callously pushed her aside after her death, who helped create an environment that killed her. So yes, I don't know how long that's going to take because we're so rooted in Illinois, but the way these guys, the governor and the secretary said, these people will always be here running this state. And I can't do it. So yes, we are going to, over the next few years, figure out where's the next place for us to be, a better place, a place where I can put Katie. Once I die, I will be buried with her and somewhere else, but not in Illinois. It's heartbreaking. My family came from a third world nation, a developing country, came here legally, waited their years, paid their fees, learned the language, assimilated best because they believed in this country. They didn't want to disrespect a country they totally believed in by just saying, I'm here and I'm owed this and let's get on with it. So I'm proud of that, but Illinois has really let us down and I will not. So I had to decide. By the way, she was killed so violently, I couldn't even have an open coffin for her. We had to make another decision, other arrangements for my Katie. So I never got to see her. I didn't hold her when she was taking her last breath. I don't know her last words. It's so haunting to me and gut-wrenching. And no one cares in Illinois. So the families have got to know they talk about, they care about families. Trust me, If anything happens against their political views, you will be left alone. Their backs will be turned to you, and that's the fact. And I'm living it. So, I like to hear someone tell me I'm wrong. I'm living it.
Joe Abraham, our thoughts and prayers are always with you. I think about you and your daughter multiple times a day, and just know that people love you, and we have your back, and we're always here to help you.
I appreciate it. I hope Illinois can get it figured out, because this is not the way we should be moving forward. But, yeah, we'll find another place, I suppose. But I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
All right, Joe Abraham, Angel Dad, and he joined us on our Alpha Wealth Group answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
Most Americans think of Abraham Lincoln and they think of the Civil War.